for not listening to black players protesting earlier. He said that he will be personally protesting alongside his players, as well as listening to players in the league to determine the best way to move forward. So, Shannon, did you hear enough from Roger Goodell?
No, I needed to hear more, Skip. How do you mention the civil rights movement without mentioning Dr. King? How do you mention your players without mentioning the player? And I think the thing is, Skip, now maybe legally he's not allowed to say Colin Kaepernick.
You know what? I think you're right about that. I think it's deep legal water.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
And so, Skip, and I think and because the thing was what I think bothers a lot of people in the black community is that they started parroting something that was coming out of the White House about the flag, about the military, about the vets. And you hear a lot of people say this. Skip, I've been around Commissioner Goodell a lot longer than I've been around the owners. And I think at his core, he's a good man. I really do believe that, Skip.
I agree.
But you do understand this. People, I want you to understand at home, he works at the behest of the owners. He's the shield. You hear, Skip, everybody talk about the shield, the shield. Well, Roger Goodell is the shield for those 32 owners. Roger Goodell does nothing without their blessing. When he was hired, and he was on, I think it was Time Magazine, there's a new sheriff in town. They hired him for that, Skip. So in other words, he makes $40, $50 million a year to get booed every time he addresses the public while the owners collect check and everybody applauds them. That's his job. So, and I think it was a response to, Michael Thomas put this together. And he had a lot of black prominent players says, I'm Eric Floyd. I'm George Floyd. I'm Eric Garner. Yep. I'm Sandra Bland. And so maybe it was a retort to that. Skip, before I go any further, it just goes to show you the biggest mistake people make with power is believing they don't have any. Just imagine if they had stuck together like they're sticking together now for the CBA. Imagine if they had stuck together in the beginning with Cap. Imagine if they would roll with Cap in the beginning like they're riding with him now. I don't know if we'd have got here, Skip. We might have could have got this process started 2-3 years earlier. But there's one person I really want to hear from, Skip Bayless, and you know who that is. He was the only owner that threatened his players, that if they didn't toe the line, if they didn't put hand over heart, hold helmet in their arms, they weren't playing for him. I want to hear from him. Don't release a statement, because a statement doesn't do it justice, Skip, because you didn't release a statement when you threaten your players. I need to hear you. How you feel about this, Jerry? What you thinking?
We're going to do a whole topic on that in just a minute.
Skip, you know what it is, though? You could be no wrong, Skip. Black Lives Matter, the NFL might start printing T-shirts. They can make money on this. Because that's what we see, Skip. Right now, it's convenient. It's really convenient, Skip. And people are looking. Do they really care about this? Because they had an opportunity. Skip, well, you and I tried to tell them, guys, y'all want to be on the right side of history. I say, and I kept telling them, I say, one day, Cap is going to be looked at like a Rosa Parks and Dr. King. Maybe not that big, but I'm saying, no.
Maybe that big.
Yes, yeah,
as history might.
Right. Because I say, but see, y'all looking at these historical figures in today's time, go back to the 1960s. In the 50s, they weren't looked at like this.
No.
They're like Rosa. Now, you know you're supposed to get up and get that seat up. You making it hard on everybody else. Dr. King, come on now. So everybody wasn't happy with them. I believe Cap will be looked upon favorably, and rightfully so. He told you, he took a stand, he tried to warn us that this was brewing, coming to a head, and they didn't want to hear him. And I think now Skip is really convenient, because Skip, it's easy to do something out of matter of convenience. When it's inconvenient, when it's not acceptable, will you be willing to take that stand?
Yep.
And the NFL weren't willing to take that stand. And I think now, so you're raising a lot of eyebrows. Guys, people looking at you like, I don't know, NFL, because you had a chance to do this in 2016, 2017, 2018, and some of the owners, mainly the Cowboys, like, you weren't going to be playing for us. And guys like, well, we saw what happened to Cap. I don't want that to happen to me. I like my money. I like making my $3, $4, $5, $10 million a year. I ain't missing my money. So it's very interesting. I think Commissioner Goodell's video was a retort to what those blacks from the Saquons and Pat Mahomes and some of these other guys.
Not a retort.
No, but
it was a.
No,
it was. I'm with you. He basically repeated everything they said, right?
Skip, it would have went a lot further if he had done it first.
Oh, I agree with that. No, it was a response.
That's
okay, not a retort.
Response.
Okay,
A response
yes.
to what they said and
Bingo.
what they did.
I got
so
it.
that's my point. Thank you.
Okay.
Wrong road.
Okay.
Great.
All right. So just to be completely fair here, on the positive side of the NFL ledger, let's go back to 1991 when Arizona would not recognize MLK Day.
Yes.
And the NFL, boom, said no Super Bowl.
They
right?
protested, huh?
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
They did not protest.
Okay.
So unless you make Dr. King a national holiday, you're not getting a Super Bowl.
Okay. So the NFL did do that, and then when the next year they said we do recognize it, then in '96 they said okay, you can have your Super Bowl.
Your Cowboys beat the beat the Steelers.
Beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. It was a mismatch, but that's a whole nother story.
Well, you had your Waterloo. You know who else played there?
Who?
New England.
Oh.
They played in 2000. Oh, my bad. That's painful. That's too painful.
Okay, too painful. But back on track here. Then in 2017, just for the record, just to be completely fair,